basically, somewhere in these woods, I went and set up a trail camera to see a bunch of deer, bunnies, etc. And I've yet to be able to find it. So I'm just checking the point. I know I had one on that tree over there, right here. That was that tree there. Had one at one point, but not really sure where it might be. So yeah, I'm just doing a little quick walk around video and saying that I'm kind of in the market for a new trail camera because the ones I have are kind of old. One of them looks like the batteries kind of exploded in it at some point. That's the oldest one I have, so the batteries eventually went. And as I look around here, yeah, basically they're fun, especially if you live out here in the woods or you have woods where you're allowed to put trail cameras, because you can get cool pictures of birds and trees and stuff like this. And we try to promote wildlife here as much as possible. Exhibit A, one of the reasons I'm walking up in this direction, here's a bird feeder that's been there since the summer, spring, or I guess last winter. So I'm gonna take this down and bring it with me, because we need to refill it for all the birds that will come close to the house, but will come here. And this is zip tied on. Who zip tied this to the tree? Who would do this? I know who did it, but who really would do this? Can I break it? I think I can just break it here. Hang on a second. Yes, quality content, breaking zip ties. But I guess we put these zip ties up because the squirrels were knocking it off. There we go. Now we're gonna make sure we grab those zip ties. There we go. And we're gonna take this down to the house and refill it. To which somebody could argue that I could have brought the stuff up and do that, but we're gonna be moving them around a little bit to, you know, keep things going. But also we want to be able to see it. Right now, we can't see this from the driveway or the road or anything like that, which is the other reason I have the potential trail camera around here to walk to the bird feeder. But yeah, doesn't appear to be so. No. Okay, cool. So we're over here on the other side of the property, and at this point I realized I probably should have brought a microphone for the camera, but I didn't really think to actually say, hey, I'm gonna make a video. But that was like, I'm doing this daily vlog thing, so I'm doing like videos and a bunch of other stuff, but if you want to check it out, you can. But yeah, I'm just, if I look like I'm looking kind of weird, I know about where height I put it. I put the camera about this high in the trees. It's just sort of here, and that's why I'm constantly looking for is where on the tree, if there's that band where I've attached it to the tree, located. And we're really walking over here. I've also been, oh, it's getting dark fast. Okay. Yeah, we're in sort of the deeper parts of the woods. Not as much light gets through here, and I guess the camera decided to die a horrible, horrible death, but I don't think I had it over here because it wouldn't get a lot of views. But we're gonna check through here. I'm gonna kick this off because at this point, I don't think you guys are gonna see very much because it's pretty thick in here as I'm walking through. All right, the light on the camera probably isn't 100% required at this point, but let's do it for old time-wimey's sake. So yeah, so I'm here in the section of the property I call the Enchanted Forest. The reason I call it the Enchanted Forest is because it reminded me of that, you know, Narnia scene where they're having to walk through the trees and stuff as they get out of the wardrobe. And then they're like, wow, look at this cool place. Which if you're coming in one way in the property, effectively that's what you're doing here. But I don't see the camera and I'm running out of trees. So I think that's it. And here's that tree that broke. See here in the branch hanging. Woo! Gonna need to clean that up in the spring. Nobody walks through here. One of the reasons why I'm checking out here is because if I put the camera out here, I definitely would have never seen it on my normal walks with the puppies because it's just too thick in here to walk puppies through here. As you can sort of see, but I do know from the tracks, etc. I've seen in the past that deer occasionally do come out here and hang out here, especially if they have fawns, because it's such a secluded and safe place. But it's looking like we're gonna come up zero on that trail camera. All right, we're gonna check a different part of the property. I'm just gonna say this before somebody gives me grief. Why can't you remember where you put your trail camera a year ago? This one's actually been up for about 2, maybe 3 years. I believe it's a SkyPoint, or I believe it's a SkyPoint, and it has a solar panel on top. So the idea I had was I put it with a bigger memory card. I was like, oh, I'll come back in a couple of years and see what it did. And probably forgot about it for almost 2 years. Then I realized about it, looked for it, couldn't find it, and now I'm back out here looking for it again, a little bit more determined now that it's not like the summertime when there's leaves and everything that would block it. But so far I haven't seen it at all. I just have one section left on the far side of the property to check, but I'm pretty confident it's not there. So yeah, I've lost a trail camera. I think we can stamp a giant lost sign on that one. And I say that for the trail camera, not me. I know exactly where I am. I can see my house from here. But yeah, but it's not any of these big trees because I didn't have that big a band. But smaller trees over here, maybe. Anywho, yeah, let's check it out. All right, so we're out here by the shoreline. I'm 99% sure it's not out here. While I may have stuck it in pointing towards the house or something, see if I can catch the puppies. My brain says I put it somewhere because I saw some tracks for deer, like a lot of tracks. So it might be over here, which is not great because a lot of these trees fell down over the last year or two because this big guy, he came down and he kind of made a giant mess of that whole area, which might be why I haven't found my trail camera, because it might be somewhere in there. And that's just a giant mess of broken trees. But you know, trees fall down over time, it happens. But I know it's probably in that giant mess of trees over there, maybe. I don't know. I know there were some fawns down here a couple of years ago with a doe, so I may have put the camera somewhere out here, but I haven't seen it and it's starting to get too dark to look. So I'm gonna call that here, and we're gonna jump back to the office studio space, and I'm gonna talk about what I'm looking for in my next trail camera, and you guys can let me know if I'm crazy or not. All right, so we're back inside, and I want to talk about what trail cameras I have right now and what trail cameras I'm thinking of getting. And it was a SkyPoint Solar, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but these are the two I currently have. This is the oldest one I have. It's from Wild Games, and basically it takes like 8 AA batteries, and at some point 1, 2, or maybe they just cascaded, kind of had explode on the inside. I've given it a try and stuff, but it doesn't seem to run very well anymore, which again, it's not the fault of the trail camera. It had literally batteries explode on the inside. So that one's kind of out. This guy here, it still works. Moultrie, I think it's Moultrie, as sort of joke or play on words of military. I might be wrong about that. But the nice thing it had was it also came with one of these little guys here. And this, you can plug an SD card in and see in the field if you take the card out of the camera, you put it in here, and you can see it in the field. Now, you know, they use apps, and this guy's also apparently a little dead, but this camera works really well still. So I'm kind of down to one trail camera, which is not the end of the world. I'm gonna set up in a couple spots. I can put it in a spot, move it around to another spot, move it around to another spot, but I'd really like to get something newer than this guy. Not because it's bad, but because I'm assuming in the last, 5 years, trail camera technology has improved, and I might be able to get something a little bit fancier and easier to use than this guy here. But yeah, simple concept. You open it up, you flip it there, and you have all the controls here. And as you can see, I can turn it on. Yeah, there you go. And it comes up with the little thing saying enter a card in, then you put your card in, and it works. So I'm going to set this guy back up, and let's talk about the trail camera that I have misplaced, lost, or I guess maybe somebody walked off for it, or, you know, who knows, somebody could have stuck it in a box. I have no way of knowing where it is. I just know that I don't have it. I'm not sure if this is the model of camera that I had, but this is what it basically looked like. I think mine was a bit more brown and darker. But the idea being is that it had a camera in the center, these like blackout, no glow lights. It had the solar panel on top as an integrated unit. And then that was pretty much it. You could open the front, put the batteries and all that stuff like that. And then at the bottom, I think it was at the bottom, there was a 12-volt jack. And I know I plugged in my astronomy battery into it once when I was trying to get footage of a bunch of animals crossing, because I knew they'd be crossing all the time. And then I moved it somewhere else on the property, and then I moved it again, and I just for the life of me can't remember where it is. Now, this is like a 12 megapixel camera. I'm not sure what they come without these days, so that's one thing I'd like to see is, can I get a bit more megapixels or a bit higher quality image content? I'll show you some image content here of what I've got with the solar camera I had, and then also show you some of the Moultrie, which I actually have a lot more footage for because I didn't lose it almost 3 years ago. That's literally why it has more footage than this one, even though I think this one here definitely produced better quality footage because, again, it was a newer one, which is kind of unfortunate that I lost it. In terms of what am I looking for a new trail camera, I don't really have any hard and fast requirements other than I would like a camera that has better video, more so than I want better photo. At the end of the day, I like getting videos of animals, and while photos are great, a video is like 60 photos a second or 30 photos a second or 24 photos a second. It makes for a nice little clip, and obviously, you know, that's something I enjoy. Now, looking at these, I sort of went and put them in the order of most expensive to low. This guy here seems to be the most expensive at $400 US. I've got it in Canadian transfer. And then you sort of get down into some of these other cameras. I'm noticing a lot of them have cellular data. I'm gonna have to see if that works in Canada. In the US, I'm sure it's a much easier process because this is a US site, but I may be limited in terms of what will run in Canada, so I'll have to research that. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of cellular cameras. And also, as I go down here, I'm noticing a lot of 4K. I think there was one that said it was like 40K, 40 megapixel image. One thing I do want to get though, okay, I said I didn't have one, but I have one. I do want a no glow camera because I live in such a dark, forested area. I don't want the camera doing any glow or flashing because animals out here are, you know, there's not any city lights or anything like this. We're not in a like the city bubble. If there's a light in the woods, you're going to notice it because you're gonna be like, what's that? So yeah, no glow would be nice. And what else do we have here? Yeah, mainly I think it's just, do I want cellular or not? Because like you can get something like this guy here, the Browning Defender Vision Pro, and it's cellular trail camera, and it runs on AT&T. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting point I have to look into. Again, is which ones can work here in Canada. But yeah, they all look cool. They all look great. Price wise, I would love to stay under 250 Canadian dollars if I could. I'm not against spending a bit more money, but I don't really want to spend a ton of money on a trail camera. In fact, if I had a choice of what I could do, I'd rather get like a 2-pack of trail cameras. I know Costco does that from time to time, and that would be preferred, to get like 2 trail cameras instead of buying like one really expensive trail camera. So as we get down here to like the $150 sort of thing, I might say I could get 2 for the $300, stretch the budget a little bit, but then I have 2 cameras, which means 2 things. One, I have 2 angles I can set up to try to capture animals as they cross the paths and whatever, but also 2, if I lose another one, I still have at least one good, more modern camera in my arsenal out there, just from a weird thing. However, when I was watching the video from Standing Orchard, I saw that you can get like GPS tracking in these things. I also did a little bit of research, and you can also get like the air tags or other type of trackers that sort of attach to these things. So if they happen to go missing, or you're like, I forgot where I put my thing, you can press the button, and if you're within sort of range of the camera, so it can pick up off your phone, it'll go bing, this is where I am, sort of thing, or it'll make a sound or something, so you can say, oh, there's it is, rather than, what we just did was walk through the woods for probably half an hour saying, I wonder where my camera's gone. And yeah, I'd also like to get another solar panel. That was the thing I liked about the SPYPOINT, was that it had a solar panel. Now, the downside was that you had to always have it facing south. A solar panel that you can like attach to it separately would be a good idea. Like here's this a great little, it's this guy here, like this kind of thing. Because then you can have it where this camera can be pointing in any direction, and you can have this set up, pointing south, so you get your optimal solar energy, but the camera doesn't have to point in the same direction as the solar panel. So yeah, something like that would be cool too. But again, if I'm doing this, I suspect this is, I don't want to say not cheap, but this would be, instead of getting 2 cameras, I probably splurge for this, if I'm going to be honest. This actually looks like a nice setup. Plus, you're not as easily going to lose this in the woods. That's the theme. Well, how can I get a trail camera that's like super stealth, and animals are not going to notice it, see it, or realize that they're being filmed, but at the same time, it's so blaringly obviously there that I'm not going to lose it? And the real answer is, if it was painted orange. But I don't think they make orange trail cameras. I really don't. So if you have any thoughts on what are must-haves for trail cameras today, let me know in the comments below. But mainly I'm just trying to decide, do I buy a nicer camera, like actual camera capability? Do I splurge for that antenna thing? Is that really going to be worth it? Kind of half and half. And also for those solar panels and stuff, I'm assuming that, with these things here, they have, like, even this guy here has a 12-volt jack on the bottom. Can I maybe just, get a solar panel and connect up to something like this, and then buy a second one of like a newer version of this to get it to work? And apparently it also has USB out. Oh, interesting. I have never used that. I just, open it up and take the SD card out. Anywho, that's it for me. YouTube's going to show you 2 videos. One of them is probably related to trail cameras, and the other is probably what YouTube thinks you should watch next. Until the next video,